about me when you read out all those things. It sounded like it sounded scary, but anyway. Hi guys, how are we today? How's the weather today? Good, good, fantastic. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Great. All right. All right. So, we're just gonna kick off. I don't have so much time, so I don't keep you guys from your Owambe Saturdays. For those of you that still want to go and eat rice and pounded yam in the different parties. Yeah. So my name is Ife. We're just gonna have a conversation basically about the starting out as a tech applicant when you're applying to the different jobs. Um, I remember my first gig, right? And it was okay. So for context, I have a background in computer science. So the first degree was in computer science, um, and I still don't write code, right? So maybe I'm a maybe I'm a disappointment to people like Yomi and all of you people who code out there. Um, Sorry, just a second. Okay, full screen. Sure. All right. So yes, I don't know how. Not that I don't know how to code. I just don't like writing code. So maybe I don't want to use the word that I chose the easier part, but yes, I'm a delivery manager, project manager for fintech in Africa, and I shuttle between here and Nigeria and the UK as well. Okay, so how to start off? So first of all, let's understand the landscape, right? So since 2017, net tech employment has increased by an estimated 75,000 new jobs, and that's a lot, right? When you compare the numbers, right? And yes, during COVID, we had some issues, so I might not see, just like Aminat as well, I might not see your chats. So just in case, so then please, if there are any questions or any hands up, please help my ministry. Thanks. Oh, sorry, it's not. I might not showing full screen. Just a second. Guys, let me know if it's full screen or not. Let me see. Okay, no, I think I need to stop this and share it again. Just a second. Hi, David. Let me know if it's full screen now.
Yes, it is.
Great.
You can go ahead.
Fantastic. All right. So yes, so I was saying since 2017, net employment, 75,280 jobs. That's a lot, right? That's a huge chunk of jobs created in the UK, and it reached total jobs 2 million, which is also a lot in 2022. Increased 1% in 2023, and CompTIA and Technician are predicting that it would increase by another 1%, which is still this year, and which is a lot. But no matter how you, so 1% of 1% of 2 million is how much? Is around 20,000. I'm sure it'll be more than that as well. So basically, it consists of two separate components, right? People working in tech roles, such as people like Yomi who are software engineers, and Amina who core tech people, IT support, professional employees, tech companies. So your cloud engineers, your business analysts, your project managers, and then full-time self-employed technology professionals. I think Yomi falls into the two categories, as a consultant and also as as an engineer. And so I'm doing this so that you guys can understand what it is that you're up against, right? So there are jobs there, but at the same time, you need to be able to reach out to people to say, look, you need to be able to stand out when you send your CVs or when you when you apply for jobs. Yes, the whole population is around 6.3%. 188,000 tech business establishments, 150 billion economic impact. I mean, over the past 2 to 3 years, we've had over 1 million employer job posting, right? Different sectors: fintech, e-commerce, cybersec, healthcare tech, insurtech. A lot of companies that are springing up. I saw a recent report about the scale of visa that that the US did, and a lot of startups are, especially in the tech space, health tech, and core development, core web development industries or businesses are coming up and are springing up there. You need to be able to find those information and say, look, I want to first of all find out what industry do I want to work in. Do I want to do health tech? Do I want to do fintech? Case in point, fintech will show you shiggy whether you like it or not. I can tell you from experience. Cybersec could also show you shiggy as well. Imagine you being a one bin and then they're telling you that there's an issue. But I mean, so just decide, and then you want to start, having those conversations, right? Leading tech occupations. Number one on the list is always, the software guys and then the web design guys, because they would always, I mean, technology, most often than not, it boils down around all of those places. Why? Because you want to be able to build platforms and solutions that will make people's life a whole lot easier, right? There's code behind, or no code, based on the new trajectory behind, everything that you see, from e-commerce to a web app to a mobile app. There's a lot of all of that. There's a lot of code and design behind it. Analysts, cybersecurity and systems analysts. You want to make sure that the system that you're building is properly is secured, and then cybersecurity would help you do that. So your penetration testing to make sure that we are safe from hackers asking you to drop a few bitcoins and as ransom, right? So that they don't kidnap your applications, right? So IT support and operational technicians. This question earlier, someone was asking how she could move from customer service to as customer service and then customer service operations when it comes to tech. And I'm going to take a key from what I said, especially when it comes to data. You need to be able to use data very well to your advantage. And the starting point that I always tell people is start with Excel, right? It'll make your life a whole lot easier. Be able to manipulate your Excel. Even you don't have to be a genius. There are a ton of and then transition school has those courses as well. You need to be able to handle data so that you need to be able to add value to be able to transition into something else, right? So so start with that. Be able to handle Excel. You can pull it up a notch by going into trying to use Power BI and SQL. What that would do for you is when you're applying for roles and then you put all those skills on your profile and they know, okay, so what can you do with SQL? What can you do with Power BI? You're saying you can pull data and find out the reason for the reason why customers why service has dropped or why deliveries have dropped, because you have that data and then you're able to use that data to clean and then analyze that information in front of you, right? Project managers like myself, where I fall into, so something has to be delivered, right? And the project management field or section or sector will be able to say, we want to move it from point A and to point B, and then we want to be able to break it down, whether we want to use Agile or the waterfall model or both, right? To be able to break it down from point A to point B. And your project management will be able to do that. And interestingly, right, the project management field, ever since time immemorial, I remember when I finished my MBA in Edinburgh, and the first set of jobs you you would do, and you would see how they are. It's the project management and business analysis, right? It's still in the UK till now, and it will continue to be because of the way the UK economy is structured and the UK work is structured, right? A lot of projects are being carried out, so those jobs would continue to show and would continue to take place. Network and telecommunication, these are usually the under these people usually go unnoticed. And interestingly, I was looking at the data for the average pay for network engineers, and it's a lot, especially if you have some cloud experience, right? You see figures around 45 to 50, 60. I know when you get to a certain amount, the higher you go, the more your taxes is. Um, but there's a lot of work, and then there's a lot of value that they create, and there's a lot of money in that sector as well. So digging into the deep of it, there's a big cultural difference between wherever you're coming from and applications in the UK, right? I remember the first time I submitted my CV, and I submitted my CVs a lot. I'm sure some of us are going through the same thing when I finished my MBA. And I would just send my CV for any job that I felt that I could do, from customer service, because I just wanted to get something, so that I won't be kicked out, and then that your rent is monthly, so you have to pay it as when due. So I would just submit it because I was coming with the Nigerian mindset that one CV is enough for all of that. But when you get to the UK, that is totally different, right? You need to be able to focus on what you've done and then your technical skills, right? Some countries like Nigeria, they like to see stories. Some countries like maybe some parts of Europe like to see some sort of narrative. But the UK says, look, what can you do? What have you done? What technical skills do you have? What experience do you have? What projects have you worked on, right? So conciseness is key, right? Aim for 2 pages at most. Happy to have conversations around this and focus on impactful achievements and relevant skills. So put on stuff that you've done, projects that you've worked on, how you. I was looking at someone's CV a few days ago. It's a project manager at Barclays, and I was like, wow, this is great. So you could see action points, you could see action verbs. We did this project and it delivered 9 million in value, or it cuts down 10% in deficiencies. You need to be able to put figures in your document so that they know that you're not just writing story, but they want to see something that you've done, right? Technical skills take center stage. For you, if you want to go into programming, right, or if you're a web developer, put your languages, right? The tools, your framework, your React, your Vue, your PHP. I hear PHP is a dying breed, Yomi. I don't know if that's correct. Sorry. Yeah, then quantify it, right? Bug fixes, project complexity, how you.
Sorry if I may cut you. PHP is not dying. Actually, it's very much alive.
I was having a conversation recently, and unfortunately, a lot of people have been having conversations. Everybody's .NET, Java, and I'm like, so what's happening to PHP? What has happened? Well, hopefully it won't die. It won't die totally. I know a lot of applications are still being built on PHP. Right. So quantify your technical achievements with metrics. Make sure that you spell them out, and they are not just saying I fixed a bug. You can say find a way to describe it. I fixed a bug that was delaying us going to production and us achieving a certain milestone for revenue and all of that. Be specific, and then be able to quantify it, right? Use action verbs, right? Developed, implement, optimize, analyzed, and all of that. Education usually takes a backseat in the UK, to be honest. I have a friend who is he's a project manager at what's this place called again? Tesco Bank. Excuse me. Right, and he doesn't have a BSc degree. And it's quite interesting. But what does he have? He has a ton of experience, and he was recruited from Nigeria. Massive ton of experience. He's done his PMP, he's done his Prince 2, but his projects, speak for themselves, right? And that's the interesting thing about the UK. They just want to know that you can do the work, right? I know PhD guys who are doing customer service job. I mean, I'm doing a doctorate as well. No shots fired on PhD holders, but they just want to know, if you can do a job, So examples, instead of developing a mobile app during my university project, you can try, lead development of a mobile app used by 100,000 users using agile methodologies and optimizing performance by 20%, right? So this way, they know what it is that you've done. They know the effect that what you've done has had on the company, right? And then the performance that as well. So when you're having this conversation and they ask you to speak about it, right, you can then start to break it down. Say, okay, this is what happened. This was how we, and when you get into an interview, you can say this was what happened. This was the idea behind the project or the mobile app. How you got 10,000 users, how you used agile and the software development lifecycle to deliver, those projects, and then over, optimizing performance after a few times by 20%. That way, they know that you know what it is that you're talking about, and they are not just winging it or just pulling words out of the air to understand so that you can get the job. So according to Tech Nation, right, the following skills are currently in high demand. Cloud computing. Everything is pretty much going into the cloud now. So your Azure is Microsoft, your AWS, which is Amazon Web Service, and then your GCP, which is Google. Yeah, those are the three sought after tools and technologies for cloud computing. For the UK, I know there's a lot of AWS and Azure. Both of them are really fighting for the market. GCP, Google takes the backseat, but so is between AWS and Azure. In Nigeria is mostly AWS, but Microsoft has gradually taken over that market as well. CyberSec, and another interesting field. The interesting part about CyberSec is there's a lot that you can do around it. So you can do governance reporting and compliance, which is really big now, especially in the UK and then with GDPR. So there's a lot to do, and then there's a lot to make sure that the applications and the UK government is pretty much the highest employer when it comes to CyberSec and GRC. So then there's penetration testing, ethical hacking, threat intelligence are essential skills. AI intelligence. I know someone is going to be talking about artificial intelligence. Sorry, we're going to be speaking about AI later. Machine learning, deep learning, NLPs. Gradually, I mean your ChatGPT and your BARD, your Bing AI, pretty much deep learning and machine learning, pretty much AIs, right? So those skills, as you there was the job ad I saw on LinkedIn. I think it was earlier this year or late last year, and it was around someone being able to use prompts for a job, and the money they were quoting was really crazy. I was like, really? Are you sure I won't stop my project management job and go and start learning how to do prompts for AIs? But yeah, so that field is really picking up as well. Full stack development. Your me is your plug for this, and so is transition school. Different languages, JavaScript, React, your Node, your Python, your .NET, your Vue, your Nox and your Next, your Java, so your Node.js and all of that stuff. Just decide and say, look, out of all of this, which ones am I comfortable with? Which ones would I be able to function around, and start digging deep into that. Your data science, the data analysis. I spoke about Excel and Tableau or Power BI, data visualization. Highly sought after skills. Product management, you need to be able to do market research. You need to be able to do competitive analysis, be able to do a roadmap to say, how do we start a product, and then how do we get to $1 million in revenue? How do we become a unicorn 2-3 years down the line, right? So the product design, Figma, your Sketch, your Adobe XD, your user research, your testing methodologies, your wireframing, your prototyping, your low fidelity mockups and high fidelity mockups, and all of those. You need to be able to say, okay, look, I'm taking this part and then I'm learning all of these skills, as I go along. Your business analyst, be able to do process modeling, which is very key. Your project managers side, for project management, I usually advise people to know both, right? So both agile and waterfall. Your PM in the UK is Prince 2, and Europe mostly Prince 2 as well. And when you go to North America, to the US, Canada, you'd have PMI and PMP. Network and telecom engineers, automation tools, your network security, being able to understand, how to properly secure your network so that you don't get, intrusions along the line. Tailoring your application, right? You need to be able to say, look, this is. I know a lot of us job applications can be daunting, right? You sometimes you see like. I remember I was trying to apply for a job a while back, and I had to fill like 6 pages of application. I'm wondering why is life this hard, right? And it can be daunting, but each job ad and company is unique, right? So you need to take your time to take a look at those job postings and say, okay, look, what do I need? Am I qualified? Can I tailor my CV to this? Can I, is this job for me? Can I apply? Don't just apply for the sake of applying sake, but you need to be able to know how to tailor your activities and tailor your skills and your experience to that particular job that you want to, apply for. Don't underestimate the value of your tech skills and experience from your home country, right? When I first before I went for my MBA, I was doing a lot of market research and a lot of strategic planning as well. And when I go to the UK, it felt strange because what I could use or what I knew about market research was different. But what worked for me was what I did was I had a mentor who was a professor at the time, and he said, look, this is what you should do. Find out what the company wants to do and do some information, right? So what I did was I remember my first interview. It was at it was a new startup, and they were trying to do some e-commerce stuff. And what I did was I did some research and I found out what they were doing wrongly, and I made a proposition on what they wanted to do. Unfortunately, I got the job, but they couldn't offer me. They were only going to offer me an internship because of they didn't have enough funding at that time, right? So, put all of that into context when you're trying to apply your problem solving skills, your user centric approach, and then sprinkle relevant keywords from your job description on your CV and cover letter, from achieved this to implemented this. Go to the job description and put those keywords that you find into your cover letter if they ask you for a cover letter. I'm not a fan of cover letters, but guys, if they ask you for a cover letter, please just do it, right? It would help your case when you're doing an application. When you're doing let me just quickly trade this in, right? I think I've gotten a few job interviews off LinkedIn, right? And while one was just me just fooling around, the other two were people reaching out, right? And there was a time that I was actively searching, and a friend reached out to me and said, why not just reach out? So what I saw, he was doing something, he was trying to apply for a job. And instead of him hitting the easy apply button on LinkedIn, so what he did was he found the person that posted the job, right? Did a connect, and then he put some sort of information, about himself, just a brief introduction. The person accepted after like a day. Then they became friends, and then you can send messages, right? So he just drafted a nice email, and then sends it in, right? Easy apply can be like a lazy way of applying. Most often than not, you won't get feedback, right? But if you go and hit that person that posted that job, right? Just say, hey, I just saw the job posting. Do you mind us having a conversation? Share your CV. I would like to share my CV. If your CV is hosted somewhere or your profile is hosted somewhere, just put your link in it, and then just reach out to the person, right? For CV structure, yes, and contact details, obviously, so that they can, hit you up, your summary, your skills, experience, your work details, your professional summary, your technical skills, right? Your relevant work experience. Always start with the most recent one. Don't put the most recent one at the bottom so that they can see what you've done. Keep it clean and excuse me, and easy to read. Don't I mean format it properly, right? I know the transition school offers an optimization service for CVs, right? I mean, and you don't necessarily have to go to transition school so that it will be like, but yes, if you have to pay for a CV revamp or a CV, optimization, please do it. It would help your case, a lot because your CV is your first foot into the room, right? Irrespective of what you have to say, right? If your CV gets you into the room, you've done like 30 to 40% of the job. The other part of the job is left to how you communicate and how you impress the interviewers before, and then them giving you a job at the end of the day, right? LinkedIn is a gold mine. I know there's a lot of noise around it, but LinkedIn is a gold mine. If you go to your search button and type hiring software developer, you see a bunch of results. If you go to your hiring project manager, you see a ton of results, right? So what you want to do is be able to skip out the noise on LinkedIn, and then you'll be surprised. As my recent job, I got it off LinkedIn, and so you hear a lot of similar stories as well. There's a lot of job boards, CW jobs, total jobs, a ton of them. Be able to sieve out all the noise, and then you'll be home and dry. Your headline, make sure your LinkedIn is properly optimized. So if you're a data analyst trying to, get into that space, post your dashboards on LinkedIn and then make a few comments. Ask people to, criticize you, or people in the industry that and not just LinkedIn as well. Do it on X, right? So I don't say Twitter, on X. I know a lady that used to do Power Platform. She just kept posting her jobs, her work, her dashboards, her stuff, her automations, and she got a job in Malta. She's in Malta at the moment, and she just even became an MVP. Why? Because she kept on, posting those things and just showcase your skills, right? You never know who is. Not just don't just type it, right? And then the algorithm favors stuff when you put images and videos of stuff, on LinkedIn. Connect strategically, right? What that means is if you see people in the data, if you're trying to get into data analysis, if you see people in the data analysis field, just reach out, just connect. People are gracious enough to reach out to you, and then to accept your networking information, your connection request. You just have to keep putting yourself out there. You get a lot of no's, right? But it's usually just one yes that changes the story at the end of the day. I remember a mentee that was she's in Canada at the moment studying for her MSc, and in data analytics, right? I just said, look, just keep sending out your dashboards, just keep doing that, right? And she sent out to a bunch of people, and in the mornings she would just get no, and I think employers have a way of just sending you no's first thing in the morning or late at night, and she got a lot of no's. But there was one particular one that didn't come into her inbox, and then it went into her spam, and she just said, well, let me just even check my spam today. And then she checked it, and she saw that they were asking her to send her updated portfolio. She did, and she got she's doing IMAC at the same time. She's gotten some sort of remote internship work, and that's being able to pay the bills to a very large extent. So you need to continue to put yourself out there. Don't just say, I've submitted my application. Even if you submit your application, or even if you do an interview, you can do a follow-up email to say, hi, Demi, I've just submitted, or thanks for the time today. It was good connecting with the team. Please, if you do have any information or any questions you would like to ask me, more than happy to learn about it, and also learn about the next few stages, right? Research the company that you want to apply to, and good luck, guys. Thanks, Demi. I think that's me.
All right. Thank you so much, Ife, for that insightful session. Let's give him a round of applause.